Camera rolling.
I don't know how.
Playback. And action. How's it going? I'm alright. Thanks for asking. So about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I'd say, I got the opportunity to direct a crew for the very first time. It was for a music video for a friend. And in the past, I've directed stuff, but like, I guess when you're a one-man band, you're not just a director, you're doing lighting, you're doing art, and you're filming, and all that other jazz. So I guess this was the first time I really got to be a little more hands-off and have other people that are way better than me at these other areas take control and have like one really fluid process and make one great product. And I'm really happy with how it went. I just figured for anyone that is looking to direct, learn from, my mistakes, and maybe some things that went well for me might work well for you. So first off, I was terrified to be a director. I had never taken on such a large role with such decision making and heavy stakes, but you can do it. It's okay to be scared. It's normal to be scared, and sometimes it can help you. But if you trust your process and your instincts and the instincts of other people, then it'll end up okay at the very end. So don't sweat it. It's okay to be scared. It'll be just fine. The first thing I was told by someone at the office I'm working at is to just have a decision ready. I didn't realize how important that was until everyone starts asking you question after question after question from various departments, and you might not know. And you just telling them that you don't know is kind of throwing stuff off track a little bit. Eventually your lack of decision will kind of take on a life of its own, which can not necessarily be a bad thing, but I feel like if you start to lose track of what's going on, then it's gonna derail a little bit. So even if it's not the right decision, make a decision, and if you have to change it, then change it, but have one ready and be definitive with what you want. But the biggest thing that helped me make those decisions is to plan as much as you can. This is the first time I've really gone super deep into planning. I used Milanote to plan all my stuff, but I had a bunch of notes on it. I had like a whole brain dumping page. I had a reference page with a bunch of stills on it from other films, other music videos, obviously all my planned shots, the focal lengths, the movements I wanted, the actions I wanted in the scenes. I had a gear list, stuff with like props, my lights, the camera, lenses I wanted, even a monitor. But plan as much as you can, because the more you plan and think about what you want and why you want it, you'll be able to have those decisions ready, which is what I learned. I thought before that I can just it'll form on the spot, and sometimes it will, but coming from a run and gun background, this is totally different, and I feel like the things I'm imagining are happening way more accurately when I put it on camera and in Premiere and out on the final product, and I was really happy with it. So plan as much as you can, and that'll feed into your decision making. This is the first time I've ever had access to large amounts of gear and really high quality gear. Like it's usually just been me, like this camera that I'm shooting on, little Aperture MC, and like my phone. So it was definitely a privilege to have all this stuff, and I guess that just helps from making connections. So I guess that's another piece of advice: make connections and keep them close. Oh, take time with your camera. If you have a DP, or if you are your own DP, know your camera. For something like this, I'm running a GH5S right now, the prosumer at best. It's not super complicated, but for our music video, we got the chance to shoot on FX9, and we mixed up the use of the frame with our file size. So we're looking at 6K full frame, and I'm thinking, great, 6K files. No, we're looking at 6K frame. We're not looking at the file type. So we ended up shooting the entire music video in 1080. Not the end of the world, but you live and you learn. So spend time with your camera, spend time with your gear, and hopefully that'll save you time. And I've been told time is money. Along with knowing your gear, know your crew and trust your crew. I don't know what it was with this production, but something about it just ran so smoothly, and I could trust everyone with what they were doing. Like for example, I feel like I know a little bit about lighting, but to be able to just hand it off to someone and say, hey, I want it like this, and they do it. And sometimes they'll even give you suggestions that are better than what you thought. And that'll happen across all departments. I even had the chance to have an art department, like a production design. Never thought I'd be able to say that, ever. And she absolutely killed it. And she was sitting there throwing suggestions and making this set look super real. It really helps not only for it to look pretty and to look beautiful, but it also helps with immersing not just your audience, but also the people in the scene, like my extras and my talent. The biggest one I think was we made a party scene. We had like blasting music, the colorful lights. It was like low-key lighting and dark, almost like controlled mayhem. Because my direction was to like, you are at a gross college party where you can't hear anything, and you have obnoxious people, you have people that don't want to be there. And a couple of times I heard like, I feel like I'm getting drunk.
We should put salt in our water.
I'm getting like placebo drunk right now.
And there was no alcohol on set, it was just pure immersion in the life of filmmaking, I guess, I don't know. My talent came up to me, he's like, what should I wear? And me already worrying about how this light looks and how our framing looks and where to put extras. The last thing I'm thinking about is what he should be wearing. Maybe it's different for other directors. I guess other directors will have other focuses and they can make a decision right there. At that moment, I just didn't have it. So I threw it to my production designer, said, hey, go talk to him, look at the setting and look what you feel is right, and then check in with me, and if I like it, I'll give you the okay and we're gonna go for it. And she threw one out at me, said, hey, look, if you do the same costume here and here, you can match cut it and it's gonna look really cool. And right there, it just clicked. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, let's do it. And it turned out great. So have trust in your crew, let them, if they need hands, give them hands, but for the most part, assume that they got it and they can do it and they can do it well. Along the lines of planning, I had an AD for the first time. For the first time I had everyone there. Like I had a whole crew. But especially having an AD, someone keeping track of scheduling was really, really nice, especially when you have talent that is on a time constraint. You only have so much time to set something up, to shoot something and move on to the next one. It was really nice to have an AD behind you saying, hey, we got 15 minutes left on this. Make sure we're wrapping real soon on this so we can move on to the next one. My AD was super flexible. Some shots we planned for too much time and we're rolling ahead of schedule, and he's sitting there doing the calculations in his head. He's like, okay, well now we have an extra 20, 30 minutes and you can allocate this time here and here and here. Fun fact, we had planned our shoot to go 2 days and we were so ahead of schedule and my AD was totally killing it. We shot the entire thing in 1 day, and I guess that is along the lines of trusting your crew and trusting that they will do their job and they will do it well. But yeah, that was super important to have for me, was an AD. So if you can have an AD, someone or a producer, someone to keep track of time and manage all the little things that you are not doing creatively and more logistically, let them do it and just keep you accountable. I guess I'll finish off with my philosophy. First off, with having a crew for the first time, what I learned from being a director is not just creative, as much as it is very creative and somewhat technical. It is also like a social game, almost. You are managing relationships with everyone and making sure that everyone is happy. At least that was my concern, was make sure everyone is happy and enjoying their time on set. I don't want to be that one director that everyone despises working with and will never recommend to anyone. I want to make sure everyone's having a good time on set. Crew, talent, extras, everyone. Be approachable, be nice, tell your crew thank you. Because as much as you are stressing, they're also stressing and maybe twice as much. So say thank you, be nice, and it goes such a long way. It keeps the energy up. If you are up, then everyone else is up. You need to be that fire under everyone, but not like a bad pressuring fire as in like, oh God, we're in a panic, but more as in like a, let's go, we got it, this is awesome, and you should be proud of what you're doing. Along those lines, I don't know if this is common practice. I doubt it is just because of time and all those other restraints, but I would always ask everyone on set to look at the monitor one last time before we would roll. If my prod design wanted to change something or to do little details, some touch-ups, I would let them do it. Because I just figured we have time, we're not making any money off it. If we're not proud of the work that we're doing, then why would we do it? If we have the time and we can do it, let's make it as good as we can. So everyone should be proud of what is on screen and what we're releasing into the world. So look at the monitor. If you're happy with it and everyone else is happy with it, what's not to like? You're doing this for you at the end of the day. I also took a page out of Danny Gravert's book. From him I learned, don't make your talent do anything that you're not comfortable with doing. And as much as some acting stuff is awkward, you do have to be that presence, bring that lively feeling onto the set and bring the energy so everyone else can do the same. If I wanted my talent to yell the lyrics, to jump around, to scream and to be angry, I would sit there and do it with him. I would hop behind the camera and I would I would yell, I'd put my hands up, I'd sing the song with them, I'd blast the volume, do whatever I can to show them like, look, I'm doing it, you can do it too. As much as it is awkward, just show that it is doable and they're not doing it alone. Make them feel comfortable, and the more they feel comfortable, the more we can get, and the better the product we can get. But thankfully my crew was super open to stuff that is a bit awkward at times. I had to act like we're at a party. And they were, they killed it. They were sitting there, the party took a life of its own. They were doing like fake keg stands and running into each other and yelling these very real conversations.
Will! My name's Will! We're gonna hit every this is really straight up.
I wrote this down during a session. I was watching pinball. Shout out Elise. I saw a scene where a character says, all people want to know is what they're doing matters. And I had just directed one of the smoothest shoots of my life. I was on cloud 9 and I was getting kind of emotional. I'm just sitting there like, dang, like what I'm doing matters. Even if it's just for a small local artist with a bunch of interns, like my talent was happy, my extras were happy, I'm happy, my crew was happy with what was going on. And it's just like, even if this isn't like the biggest hit, or the Oppenheimer cinematic masterpieces, like we had fun, as long as I made a couple people smile, I think we did our jobs pretty well. I think that's all I have. Hopefully you learned a couple things from me, or maybe this is just completely directionless because I did not do enough pre-pro. Yeah, maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes, learn from what went well for me, and just keep in mind that every production is different, every crew is different. What works for me may not work for you, but at the end of the day, I've been told this so many times over the past couple months, be a good person, be a decent person, someone enjoyable to be around, and the rest will follow. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. I'm glad you're here.